Hi guys, as we know, the Conservatives are willing to weaponise the issue of immigration and asylum, and to hell with the consequences. I think this is in order to achieve two goals. One is to damage the Labour Party and the Labour government, and the second is to attempt to win back some support from Reform UK by pretending that you're actually achieving something. So she was in a place called Waterlooville, where she was claiming a victory for the Conservative Party when it came to moving asylum seekers into the area. Have a listen to this.
This is not normal. This is not normal. For the second time now in 2 weeks, hundreds of you, last time thousands of you, have taken to the streets to stand up for your country. Patriotic, law-abiding, fair-minded, decent people who love Waterlooville, who love our country, have taken to peaceful protest to say enough is enough.
We must remember that Suella Braverman's own parents are migrants, and when it comes to asylum seekers, they make up about 3% of immigration. So when she says enough is enough, is she talking about asylum seekers or is she talking about migrants in general? Because maybe she wants her own parents to be deported.
Special kind of person to take a stand for their country in the way that you have. And so I am here simply to say thank you to each and every one of you and everybody who has taken a stand and spoken up for our great country that we all love. Thank you, Waterlooville. Because the reality is you're fed up, you're scared, and you're angry. I get that. Now, a few weeks ago, it was local Conservative councillors who came to me, and they told me that they had discovered a secret plan. Havant Borough Council and the Home Office were planning to house illegal migrants and asylum seekers here in Waterlooville. No one had been consulted. No one had been asked. No one agreed to it. We had to act, and that's why it was local Conservative councillors led by Councillor Gwen Robinson. Gwen is here. Let's give her a round of applause. To expose the plan. Oh, there we go. Here's Gwen. Here's Gwen. Bless her. To expose the plan. 10,000 of you, over 10,000 of you signed my petition. Councillor Robinson and local Conservatives challenged the Labour and Lib Dem members who are running Havant Borough Council, and we wrote to the Home Secretary. And through our collective efforts, we stopped the plans.
Okay, how is it a secret plan if the Conservatives knew about it? The Conservative councillors knew about it. Okay, so what's happening here? Obviously, the Conservative councillors put pressure on the local MP, and the local MP, who's a Conservative, put pressure on the Home Secretary, along with Suella Braverman and her petition. And it seems they succeeded. They succeeded in stopping asylum seekers being placed in this part of Waterlooville. Now, the council suggested that it was an issue with fire safety. That was one of the arguments put forward. No, you can't put asylum seekers in this area because the accommodation is not suitable. You know, suddenly the Conservatives care about fire safety. They didn't really care about it when, during the Grenfell fire, but for some reason now they're concerned about fire safety when it comes to asylum seekers being placed in a hotel. Obviously, these are tactics that are being used by the councillors in relation to council property in the area that they can use as a tool to convince the Home Secretary or the Home Office not to house asylum seekers there. This will be presented as a victory for the Conservatives. As I said at the beginning of this video, this is about attacking Labour, but this is also about convincing people who voted for reform they should come back to the Conservatives, because she mentioned here the Conservatives won this victory. Now, these asylum seekers will have to go somewhere else. But the irony of all of this is that the fair share concept, or the fair share principle, was actually something that existed under the Conservatives. It was part of the National Asylum Support Service strategy, which was to spread asylum seekers throughout the UK. And this was operating under Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss. So when the concept was we need to spread asylum seekers around the UK, Suella Braverman didn't have a problem with it. She wasn't organising protests. She wasn't organising petitions against the government of the day. Oh, why? Because she was part of that frigging government. So the Conservatives, in their cynicism, are complaining about policies that they had no problem with up to about a year ago, and now trying to weaponize those issues, trying to weaponize those policies and say, well, you know, the people were not consulted, the council had every right to reject this, and now people should look at the Conservative Party as the one who's able to get things done, not Reform UK. These people are charlatans. You know, as I said, Suella Braverman's own parents were migrants. Does she want them deported as well? Because the people that she's standing there with, they would be happy to see Suella Braverman's parents deported. They're not just concerned about asylum seekers. They're also concerned about immigrants in general, and they would like to see a lot of people deported, including Suella Braverman's own parents. She's playing a very dangerous game. She's getting into bed with very sinister people, and it's all about power. It's all about influence. She doesn't care about the consequences. I don't know if this is actually going to work for the Tories, because a lot of people who voted for reform were also rejecting the Conservatives for other reasons, not just immigration. But they're so desperate to win back some sort of support, they're willing to engage in tactics that they had no problem with, attack policies that they had no problem with just over a year ago. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.